So I started by removing the cranks on the non-drive side, which is this one. Obviously had to struggle because the nut seemed kind of seized in there. So I did use a little bit of heat. Essentially the idea is to remove any loose nuts. I didn't want to overheat anything because the crank is aluminum. So I was just hoping this will kind of unlock it. I don't know if it did, but a little bit of pedal power or my foot power, and that seemed to snap it loose. Once that is done, I started to undo the crank using the crank puller. Essentially, the crank puller has a bolt. You thread in the outer shell and make sure your bolt is completely loose when you do this. Otherwise, it won't go all the way in and you'll end up stripping the crank. Now, this is a 1980s bike, and what's interesting is the cranks are 165 mm. Think about that. They must have thought those were really small. With that out of the way, I started removing the outer ring, which was quite easy. This piece and the cone or the cup weren't like really seized up, so it was easy to remove the outer ring, the washer, as well as the cone. And on the non-drive side, it's lefty-loosey, so you turn everything counterclockwise to undo. On the drive side, it's the opposite. Look at that, the ball bearings and the grease. I noticed for these caps, this is a chain tool, one of the chain bolt tool. This seemed to be working very well. Okay, this side. So make sure this is completely extracted out when you thread this in, otherwise you will strip these threads. Here is where the issue started. While the cranks and the chainring are fine, the entire chain as well as the bottom bracket on this side are really rusted, and they're also caked in it. Feels like they are really seized and stuck just by looking at it. So I started with a quick clean. That obviously didn't quite help. And the spindle as such is in an okay shape. It's not too bad, but it's not good either. This side could use a little bit of sand. Now this is the drive side, so everything turns clockwise to come loose. And starting with the outer ring, everything is pretty much seized. Now after that, I was able to finally undo the outer ring. You'll notice that it's pretty much rusted, just as we guessed. The chain guard is held in place by this outer ring, also acts like a washer. And obviously the bottom bracket is pretty seized. You'll see me struggle with it. I kind of used all the techniques. I left all this long process in here just to show you that I actually tried a couple of days using penetrating oil, even trying to chisel it, but that didn't work. What actually helped is me trying to put the tool in place using a clamp. I essentially threaded the other side of the cup as well, and then used a clamp to kind of hold it in place, and then used my foot power to pretty much loosen it up, and that actually did it. You'll see it required quite a bit of force to snap it loose. Okay, yes. Ooh, that's crazy. Okay, that was crazy. And kudos to Part2. I never thought these little pins, okay, I never thought these little pins could hold so much force. It's just insane. And they didn't even bend. It's mostly just rust. It kind of prevented it. And this one is actually not bad. Here's all the oil that's removed. And here is where the bearing sits. So it's actually not bad. It's just all the rust. And this is a chromoly frame. So the chance that these can accumulate rust is a little bit higher versus an aluminum frame that does not rust. Now here I am cleaning the spindle. I did leave again this whole process in here just to give you an idea that it looks pretty bad right now, but once I'm done, it actually shines pretty well. Okay, here's the spindle in a much better shape than it was before. Once this is done, I started to clean up the cup as well. Okay, once that is done, I essentially install the cup, and then I'm applying grease so I can hold the bearings in place. So that's the cup. You have your bearing sitting around, and then the spindle slides through. Hence it's called the cup and the cone. Your spindle acts like the cone, creating an interference. It's literally held in place by those bearings. Okay, now I'm doing the same for the non-drive side. Essentially, put enough grease in the cup, arrange your bearings, slide in and tighten it up. Of course, I grease the threads again and again just to make sure that they won't seize up. This is the non-drive side, so I'm turning right to tighten things up. Now once the non-drive side is done, I repeated the same process on the drive side too. You'll notice that in a bit. Now that's it for part 2. Please stay tuned for an exciting part 3. Thank you very much for watching.